Guys, Magic Spoon is cereal reinvented. This is my family's favorite breakfast, and we're never going back to regular cereal. Our favorite combo is to mix the cocoa with the peanut butter flavors to make the ultimate peanut butter cup collaboration with 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 to 5 net grams of carbs in each serving. This high-quality cereal is fueling reimagined. Use my code Chael2023 for $5 off your very own variety box and choose from Magic Spoon's best-selling flavors like cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, cookies and cream, and maple waffle, plus other awesome flavors, including blueberry muffin and cinnamon roll. Magic Spoon is so confident in this product, they back it with a 100% happiness guarantee, which means if you don't like it for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Click on the link below. Use the code Chael2023 to save $5 off your order today. Also, for my Canadian and British fans, Magic Spoon now ships to Canada and the UK. Leon Edwards has come out and said, I think Usman's going to have a difficult time recovering from that head kick knockout. Now, I got to stop you right there because I don't think he said anything else. I don't think he spoke on this fight. You know, that's kind of Leon. He just kind of keeps to himself. It's very standard. He makes a fair point. Leon brings up the one point that if you're going to handicap this, you're headed over to DraftKings, but you got to have a little bit of inside knowledge, right? This is the one that you have. This is what you're betting on right here, guys. You're not betting on who the better fighter is. You're not betting on if it goes a decision, who's most likely to beat who. You're not betting on who can push the other one to the fence, who can take him down and keep him there longer. Because all of those things go to Kamaru. But we can't just go throw the bank at Kamaru because he just lost, right? So it's one of these things. It's where you a real fine balancing act. And I do have to word it the way I word it, guys. Regardless of how your mind remembers it, and regardless of what your lying eyes told you when you were half-cocked after a night of drinking and this was the main event of a pay-per-view, regardless of how you remember it, that fight was not only not good, that fight was not close. And so many people have heard this wrong. I even had somebody who wanted to get analytical with me and brought King Mo. King Mo brings up to me and says, what are you talking about? He almost finished him in the first round. Going into the third, they're split up one apiece. I mean, that's one way to manipulate the numbers, but that's simply not what happened. First off, how did they end up taking down in the first place? That was the bigger surprise. Because that wasn't Usman, a much superior wrestler, tripping and falling. That was Edwards, went for an offensive attack that nobody knew was coming, especially Kamaru, and it worked. That was great. That's great. That's full credit there. But then he takes his back. Okay, you take the guy's back. Early, you're fresh, and he's dry. It's over. It is a curtain call. Every single time. Except that one. So the round that you guys remember as being close, and the round that you even thought was dominant, which set up going into the second round where he had to even it out before they go into the third. One apiece. Before you play those fancy words, your guy Leon had the best position he could ever hope for, and it wasn't good enough. It's really important that you do understand it from that concept. It's important so that you know that fight wasn't close. We have Dean Thomas coming in. Dean's as good as anybody. Anybody to ever hold a microphone, and he says that Leon is now playing a different game. When Leon got here tonight, the goal was to win. The goal now, a success. A fist pumps over the air is just to make it the distance. And I tell you what, boy, how your goals change. It is such a true thing how your goals will change within the moment. Then when you finally do get to the head kick heard around the world, I've heard people call it the greatest head kick in the history of MMA. It was a spectacular head kick. It was an awe-inspiring head kick. And the consequence was also amongst the most in MMA history. As far as it being a good kick, he threw a kick and the opponent ducked into it. I mean, this was a head-on car crash. Very different than, say, Piera, who tells his corner man, I'm running out of time, I'm going to walk him down and knock him out. Very different to throw a kick when you're exhausted and the guy dips into it. Had Kamaru's own action of dipping, had that not happened, neither does this trilogy. Now, I'm only bringing this to you because this wasn't a close fight at all. So if you're on the fence and you're hedging on who you should bet on, why? They had fought in 3 other rounds before this. It was on the undercard. It's before anybody knew who anyone was, before these guys were main eventers. They fought a few rounds there too. They weren't all that close. So why would it possibly be different now? And there is an answer, of course. Of course, I'm burying the lead on this. It's what Leon just spoke about. Leon said he, meaning Kamaru, is going to have a hard time getting over that head kick. Is that true? Because it doesn't feel like Kamaru, does it? We just don't know if that's good or bad. This fight has not ever felt like it was going to happen. Dana announced it the night the head kick was heard around the world. He even was flirting with the idea of pushing it all the way until March of 2023. He was going to push it all the way till March of 2023 because he wanted to get a venue in England. So then he quietly went and did all of those things, and then we were told the fight was going to happen. But all we heard about from the division, we never heard Kamaru say it was going to happen. We never heard Leon say that it was going to happen. We did hear Leon say that with one win, a fight with George Masvidal could happen. We heard Wonder Boy say that Masvidal, because of his draw power, is likely to fill in if Kamaru can't. We had Gilbert Burns get turned down for a fight with Masvidal in December, and Burns said it was so that Masvidal could fill. I mean, we heard about this fight. That's my point. People talked about this fight. There was talk of getting Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett in there together, which, with the backstory of Dave Portnoy, would have been a no-brainer. But we never really got here. 2 weeks ago, they finally confirmed that, in fact, is happening. Now, I bring that to you because what does that mean? When you get a guy like Kamaru Usman, the only person to ever be in a meaningful discussion about the greatest ever, which means he would have to replace St. Pierre, nobody ever has been able to have that argument without them looking like a fool until Kamaru. Greatest welterweight of all time, Kamaru Usman. You start to listen to that. So what happens when he goes radio silent? What happens when he buckles down? Because you want to talk about George St. Pierre, I'll tell you what, before St. Pierre fought Matt Serra the second time, you didn't hear a lot from George either. So this isn't unprecedented to have a guy in a number one contender that buckles down. I'm just asking you guys, if you approach something different, right? If Kamaru Usman is going to approach this fight differently than he did the last time they fought, that's potentially a problem, because the last time they fought, he looked great and he dominated, and it wasn't a problem. So if he's going to change his approach, right? And what goes into an approach? From who you train with, how much you train him, where you training at, geographically located. Whether he's out there in Florida or he got a plane and he's still staying over there in Colorado. I'm just sharing for you guys. I don't know because he hasn't spoken up. Now, other guys that have gone quiet, it's a very frightening thing. Other absolute hammers and killers that go radio silent because they're so focused and buckled down, it turns out to be a very scary thing. But if Kamaru Usman is going to do anything different for this fight, I got to know why. Why? If he eats something different, but because of the fight. If he sleeps differently, but it's because of the fight. If he listens to different coaches, but it's because of the fight. I'm going to want to know why. Because the last time he fought him was perfect. He was in incredible shape. He was pushing through, no problem. Championship rounds, no problem. Wrestling was on point. Even got that test in the first round, had to save himself, protect his neck, come up. I mean, everything that he did was great. So if he's changing things now, he's changing them for what? To not have the same kind of performance. Well, what kind of performance do you need? And that's where things really do get interesting. We've seen a lot of things out of Kamaru Usman, but we haven't seen this. Seen Kamaru come back and do a whole bunch of things, but we haven't seen him knocked out, have his belt taken away, have the media sieve get turned off, have to buckle down, go to enemy territory, walk out last, with 15,000 booing him. It's a very different thing. That's never happened to Kamaru Usman. And is Kamaru, like Leon said, stuck in the past? Right? Because Leon didn't just tell us about Kamaru, guys. He's got us talking. Leon's just told us who he is. Guys do that every single time. Whenever they're projecting what the opponent will do, they're just revealing what they would do, and that's okay. That is an okay thing. But if they both remember that last fight, that's going to give one of them cause, and it's going to give one of them pause. And guys, I'll tell you this story in closing. In the spirit of March, every single Division I wrestling coach in the country sits down this week every year to tell their athletes the same story. The same story is about a young man from Oklahoma State named Mark Branch, who has 7 wins and 8 losses, drew into the NCAA tournament and drew the number 2 seed right out of the gate. He had a losing record. And when the weekend was over, Mark Branch was the national champion. The next year, Mark Branch returned to the finals, except he didn't have a lopsided record. What's different? His skills aren't different. The field's not different. The weight class wasn't even different. The difference is the confidence that comes along with a championship. It was enough for Mark Branch, and the question is it enough for Leon?